Jay, could talk us through, I guess, each of your picks and especially what you saw with Murphy, take him in the second round, especially when you already have Kerrigan in the right.
Well, we saw in Trent Murphy another guy that can rush a passer. He's a proven pass rusher. 14 and a half sacks this year. He led the country in sacks. He works his tail off. He's first on the field every day, the last to leave. He studies the game. He's big. He's long. He may not have the explosion right now off the line of scrimmage, which might have knocked him down to the second round, but I look for production. I look for intensity. I look for toughness and accountability, and he's got all those traits. And if he has all those traits, I know he's going to work hard in the weight room to get stronger and provide another pass rusher and some depth at the position. We felt like he was a very good fit for our team.
Can you the trade, was there somebody that went maybe late in the first round that precipitated the desire to move down, or was that kind of a plan all along?
Well, there were a lot of people we had targeted that went early, but when we had the ability to gain another pick and not move down so far, we felt like we had a good chance to get a very good player. We ended up getting Trent Murphy, obviously, and we gained another pick. So it was a no-brainer for us. Anytime you have a chance to add a player in the third round, it's a heck of a round to get a good player, and we feel like we did that. So we took the chance that hoped that Trent would drop, and he did.
To what extent do you see any of these three guys maybe being immediate impact guys?
Well, the beauty of what we've done in free agency, I think, is we don't have to have somebody come in and start right away, be a dynamic player. I think we've addressed a lot of positions in free agency. We have a lot of good players in-house, and the draft is all about adding to your depth, adding to your roster, adding good character people, adding tough people to your roster, and I think we've done that. We've added some tough offensive linemen with Morgan Moses, who can play both tackle spots, and, of course, Spencer Long, who can play the guard spots and also can play center. So tough, high-character guys, high-motor guys are what you want to add to your football team, and we feel like we've done a good job.
Jay, were you confident that Morgan Moses would still be there at number 66, and what do you like about his game?
Well, we like Morgan. He's long. He's a big kid. He's played a lot of football. He's played both the left side and the right side in his career, and he's got a major upside. And, he's young. He's talented, like I said, and a chance to get a guy with that type of length is very hard to pass up. So we're fortunate to have Morgan, and we feel like he's got a bright future in pro football.
With Long coming off of his injuries and surgery, what was your level? I guess obviously you're pretty confident in his recovery.
Yeah, we feel good about his recovery. We do a lot of work on medical research on all these players, and he's got a passing marks, so we feel like he's going to come in and be healthy and ready to go. And tough, tenacious offensive linemen are hard to find. Big physical guys that love football, and that's kind of the motto. All three of these guys that we drafted have football is one of their top priorities in life, and we know that they're going to come in here and battle and compete every day. And you got to love what you do. We feel like all three of those guys love what they do, and they'll contribute sooner than later.
This was your first draft as a head coach. Was it any different for you?
No, not really. There's a lot of opinions out there. There's a lot of information that you have to go through, positions, who's the best player, your rankings, and you have a lot of different opinions, like I said, and you have to go through a lot of information and medicals, and it's a grind, and it's been a grind for a long time, and sometimes you get disappointed a guy's not there or somebody picks him right in front of you. But the main thing is when you do make that pick, everybody's on board and everybody's happy with what happened, and we feel good about the three picks that we had, and we're going to move forward with these three guys, and they're Washington Redskins now, and moving forward, we're happy to have them.
So was there talk about taking Moses with your first selection? How surprised were you when he slid to you there with the second one?
Definitely. There was talk about taking him in the first selection. And, we just thought that Trent Murphy's resume was very impressive, and the things that he's done and accomplished in his career at Stanford, and talking to Coach Shaw at Stanford, and the accountability that he has possessed and the production that he's provided for Stanford was too hard to pass up. And then we just crossed our fingers and hoped that Morgan would fall, and he did.
Mentioned chatting with you a couple weeks ago at Redskins Park. What do you remember about him and your guys' conversation?
He's a great kid, and like I said, and very interested in guys that, there's a lot of people that are close. There's a lot of good football players in college football, and when you're making a decision, I think the overriding factor has to be what kind of person he is, what kind of work ethic does he have, accountability, all that good stuff that I've been talking about. is the game important to him, and it is important to Morgan. And I think he's got a lot of room to develop. I really do. He can develop some foot quickness. He can, but the one thing that you can't coach is his length, and his size. And then you throw a little work ethic in there that he's going to get better every day. And when he starts, when he plays, will be to be determined. But we're excited to work with a young, big, athletic kid like Morgan.
You added 2 big offensive linemen today after adding a couple of big offensive linemen in free agency. Safe to say there's going to be some pretty high degree of competition for starting jobs there along the offensive line?
I think all great teams will have competition at every position. That's what we're trying to build here. And, we're not discounting anybody. We're happy with the guys that we acquired in free agency. We're happy with the guys that, have played here and done a lot and have accomplished a lot for the Redskins. So we're not penciling anybody as starters, but we are trying to provide ourselves with great competition day one of training camp, and may the best man win. And I think that's the best way you get a better team is having great competition at every position, so people come to work. And the more competition you have at offensive line, the defensive line is now competing, the linebackers are competing, everybody's competing, and that'll make you a better football team.
Going back to Trent Murphy, obviously with Brian and Ryan already there, but the way the game has gone, so many nickel packages, will it be easy to get him on the field in a lot of situations?
No question, and I think that's what drew us to him is his football smarts, his ability to, he's predominantly lined up outside, but we feel like he can line up inside, he can move around a little bit, but for the most part, his flexibility, his athleticism, I think, is a little bit underrated. We feel like he can provide us with immediate pass rush on third down, and we'll find a spot for him.
Are you talking about like a first, second down, or more so in a nickel?
More so in nickel packages. Nickel packages get pretty extravagant nowadays. Coach Haslett has a lot of plans for him, but coming in right now, he's in the lineup. Obviously, the outside linebacker, back up Ryan and Brian, and provide us with some depth at that position. And anybody knows that about the 3-4, you need to have depth at linebacker because those guys are working their tail off. They're dropping in coverage or rushing the passer. So it's very important this day and age with the no huddle that you keep guys fresh and you're able to filter in guys in and out and make sure you can continue to get after the quarterback. And we felt like anytime you can add a good pass rusher with the resume that Trent has, it was a great opportunity for us. We couldn't pass it up.
Jay, for you specifically as a head coach, how hard is it to get to know some of the intangible elements of these players? I know you trust your area scouts and Scott, obviously, and that whole crew, but for you specifically, how difficult is it to get a gauge on what these guys do behind the scenes, if you will?
Well, you're right. We do have a lot of scouts that we have to trust what they write down and research that they do, they provide, and then we have the opportunity at the combine. We have the opportunity to bring some people in. We brought Trent in for a visit. So we try to get as intimate as we can with these players, especially, the top 2, 3, 4 rounds to get to know them and make sure we're drafting the right kind of person that fits what we're trying to build here at Washington.
When you had talked about getting bigger up front, do you feel like you guys were able to accomplish that with these 2 offensive linemen there?
Well, they're big. Yeah, they're big. And it's not necessarily bigger we're looking for. We're looking, like I said, to have people come in and compete. And size is important. They got some big defensive linemen nowadays, and we want to protect our quarterback the best way we can. But also we want to be able to be athletic and get up to the next level and be able to run the football. Been a very successful zone running team here with athletic offensive linemen. But there's going to come a time we're going to have to throw the ball a little bit. We need some size in there, and these guys will compete. But, moving forward, when I got the job here, I wasn't as disappointed with the offensive line as I read about. A lot of people had a lot of things to say about them. But anytime you have a chance to add depth with some big kids like Morgan and Spencer, it can only help add to your depth. And, down the road, young, good, big offensive linemen are hard to find. So when they play for us, we'll be too determined, but you can never have too many big guys that can run and block in your room.
You said you're happy with Spencer Long's recovery.